Happy Tuesday. I guess this would kind of be Trending Tuesday, but not really. We'll get to that and talk about the changes coming to the podcast after the podcast, so make sure you stay tuned for that. Also, don't forget to check us out on Patreon. That's The Podcasting Dead on Patreon. Just go to patreon.com and search, or you can use the link in the description, but we hear sometimes that doesn't work. So if that's the case and you really want to donate, you can do that. We'll give you more information about the podcast and the Patreon and all that good stuff after we talk about this. I'm Justin.
And I'm JP.
And we are The Podcasting Dead. We podcast about all kinds of stuff. We're available on iTunes, on iHeartRadio, YouTube. I don't know where you're listening from. Spotify. We've really branched out. So I don't know where you're listening from, but make sure to give us I don't know if we've quite gone there yet, but we could probably make it happen.
Yeah. Okay.
But make sure to give us if nothing else, a like helps us out a ton, and if you'd be so inclined to follow. So we normally talk about current events on Tuesday, but now I think we're just going to try to, instead of doing one current event podcast, we're going to do just when we see something that's interesting, we'll podcast about it. And it means you'll get more podcasts. It might be shorter, but you'll get more. So if you're a regular subscriber, I don't know why I said we'll talk about that after the podcast. That's pretty much it.
It's kind of like crack cocaine. You don't indulge a lot of it, but what you get is very intense and very high velocity and just as addictive.
Because that's exactly, when we were talking about these changes, that's exactly what I was thinking about was crack cocaine. Mm-hmm. I'm glad to know that we're on the same page.
I think about it pretty often.
Okay, so there's a bill that's been introduced by a Republican U.S. Senator. I think it was introduced today. It says Tuesday, so I guess that would be today. It's aiming to curb overuse of social media, in particular by banning Snapchat's Snapstreak feature among elements on other social media networks. This is part of Senator Josh Hawley's Social Media Addiction Reduction Technology Act, or SMART is what they're calling it, to ban addictive and deceptive techniques by social media companies. I don't know. I think that's kind of stupid, but JP, what are your thoughts on that?
And so he's just trying to do this on a state level. How does that even work?
Is it the government's job to I mean, I don't know how I feel about that.
Well, I mean, it's just classic nanny state tactics, you know?
Right.
They want to, I guarantee he's using these kind of tactics when it comes election time and he's trying to get his message out there and stuff. I guarantee he doesn't mind spamming people then and, making sure his stuff is in your face as much as possible.
Like, I agree that some things about social media are not okay and violate your privacy and things like that, but I mean, this is like, I guess he watched that episode of Black Mirror with Topher Grace in it. Have you seen that yet? You've not yet? It's only 3 episodes. How have you not yet watched the new season of Black Mirror?
I haven't watched much Black Mirror at all.
Oh my gosh, you would love it. As much as you hate and fear technology and the advancement of technology and the damaging effects that it'll have on humanity, it's the Twilight Zone, but with technology.
I haven't got tired of watching King of the Hill yet.
So. Well, I don't think anyone gets tired of watching King of the Hill, but it's like they're on one of the episodes. That's one of the things is, it talks about, and I'm sorry, I'm going to give slight, teeny tiny little spoilers here, but one of the guys is, there's a hostage situation because a guy basically was addicted to a social media app that he checked it going down the road and he wrecked and killed some people important to him. Mm-hmm. And Topher Grace's character says, yes, we have a whole department that tries to come up with new ways to make it addictive for you. But, I mean, I don't know. I guess this guy watched that episode and was like, hey, that's a good idea. We should... I don't know, man. I mean, the thing is, you willingly download Snapchat. You willingly use it. You know what I'm saying? It's lots of stuff is made to be addictive. What company does not want repeat users? You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. I mean, it's got to tie in some kind of way to just internet censorship. I mean, they did the same thing in England with pornography, talking about how it's addictive and yada, yada, yada. And they want to censor porn on the internet, basically just as a gateway for larger, broader internet censorship. And I'm not sure exactly how they're using this bill to tie into that, but yeah, that's exactly what it is. is, man. They want, the powers that be want a stranglehold on the internet, what we can and cannot see, and just stuff like this plays right into it.
I mean, this is about as political as you'll probably hear us get, or me at least. I mean, there's no filter on JP, so there's no telling what he'll end up saying. But I just don't think that's the government's job to tell you what you like. I don't like. I think that's so stupid. The snaps from this article, I got it. I'm trying to see where I got it from. Reuters. It says Brian Pietsch. I can't pronounce that, from Washington. I got this off of the app on my MacBook. There's a news app, and that's where I found this. So I'm sorry I can't give the exact source for this story. But it says that, let's see, the Snap Streak feature displays the number of days a Snapchat user has continuously sent photos to another user. If the streak goes unattended for 24 hours, it disappears from the user's app. Some users are so dedicated to their streaks, the Snapchat has a form on its website to recover lost streaks that may have disappeared, accidentally, more or less. That's so stupid, though. It's a snap streak. It's a number.
Yeah,
I mean, that's to me, that is ridiculous. The thought that the government would want to step in and ban that. Like, I surely hope this doesn't pass. I mean, that's just. I mean, it's just like places where they ban sodas to a certain extent.
That's exactly what I was thinking
It's not
about,
the government's job to say, "Hey, you can't have this." I don't want you to tell me if I'm going to drink sodas, get fat, and have diabetes, then I have to live with that. That's a choice I made. That's the entire idea behind a free nation, is that you make these choices willingly. If you're going to, I mean, we won't even get into the drugs thing, but I mean, it's just like marijuana. I mean, what does it hurt you if I sit at my house and smoke a joint? Mm-hmm. If I want to become a useless pothead, then that's on me. That's not on you know what I mean? I don't need the government to step in and be like, "Oh, that's bad for you. Don't do that." That's not the government's job. Not here. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's Snap didn't respond to the request, the request for a comment. But critics of the feature say that it pushes users, a lot of times teenagers, into becoming addicted. Which is, it's like, no, I mean, maybe, but not in that. It's not a drug in the traditional sense. Like, they want you to keep using their app. They do advertising. I mean, if that's the case, are you going to go to FM radio next and say DJs are not allowed to give teases anymore because it's not fair? You know what I mean? Like when a radio DJ goes on the air and says, 107.5 Miami. Hey, coming up here in just a few minutes, I've got that new hot Justin Bieber track everyone wants to hear. Also on the way, Ariana Grande, and a brand new song that's never been heard before today. We'll have all of that when we get back. That's the same tactic. It's to keep you coming back so that you'll stay tuned in, so that you'll hear the advertising, just like Snapchat wants you to keep checking your snaps every day so that you see the advertising that people pay for. It's the same technique, more or less. I mean, I think it's ridiculous that the government thinks it's they should step in on that. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I know I'm sure someone's got a very good counter argument, and you're welcome to leave it down there. I think that's stupid. I mean, it's if you've got an addiction to social media, then delete it, and it's not like a chemical addiction here.
I mean, just do what they did with everything else. Just put a warning label when you download Snapchat. Warning: streaks may be highly addictive. You may be sending nudes, 15 times a day, blah, 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 blah.
I mean, like, duh. Of course they want a reason for you to come back every day. Duh. It's what TV does it. Radio does it. YouTube does it.
Yep.
Spotify does it. Everybody does it. They want you tuned in as long as they can get you. I mean, that's any app. I mean, don't snap going down the road, but what does it hurt if somebody wants to log in every day to keep their streak going? You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. There's a larger game at play here, and I'm going to figure it out.
Snapchat was among the most detrimental of social media networks to young people's mental health in a study that was done in 2017 by a London-based Royal Society for Public Health.
Yeah, man.
That's
It's one of those things where I do agree that there's a lot of negative impact on the population. I mean, they're definitely dumbing us down, shortening our attention span. But at the same time, I'm like you. I don't want to live in a nanny state, so, don't restrict me legally.
I mean, this is so stupid to the point that I'm sitting here going, this isn't like The Onion, is it? Is this a parody site? I'm almost about to Google this to make sure that we haven't spent a whole podcast ranting about something that's not real. But the bill would also ban infinite scroll and autoplay features that provide users with this, just seemingly endless array of content. Social media platforms would have to include stopping points. This is in Missouri. Stop. So what? So that would mean like I would get on Facebook and you've been scrolling too long. Put the phone down. That's not your choice to make. Like, yes, it is my wish that people would put their phones down some and just go out and live life. But again, that's their choice as an individual. That's the whole idea of freedom, is that if I want to spend my life on my ass scrolling through Facebook and judging people, then damn it, I can do it because I'm free.
And man, there's certain people, like I know a kid with he's confined to a wheelchair. He's basically like a vegetable, but his only like outlet to the world is Facebook. Like without
that's very true.
He'd be like a floating head in a jar. What does he have?
I didn't even think about that. Cerebral palsy.
Cerebral. Yeah.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, this kid has cerebral palsy, and he can't move anything but do what he blows on a mic, right, or something.
Yeah.
He scrolls through, he comments, he's friended JP and I both on Facebook, he comments things. I mean, like, that is his entire connection to the outside world.
Yeah.
Let me make sure this is legit, because part of me feels like that's a spoof story. It just doesn't seem Snapchat bill proposed Missouri. Let's see if that's popping up. No, I see it on nationalreview.com. Well, I've only seen it on two sites. There was Reuters.com and nationalreview.com did a story on it. I mean, like, if that's, I don't know, man. Like, that just, to me, that's so stupid. Like, I just think that is just ridiculously stupid.
Yeah, man. Like I said, I definitely agree with the negative implications of using this stuff, but I don't know, man.
I mean, you do, like, put out, I don't know, take some of our tax dollars that are wasted on a bunch of BS and use it for an awareness campaign of putting your phone down and going out and living life. But yeah, I don't know, man. Like, I just put that along the same lines as the places that ban any sodas over 16 ounces, or that, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's so stupid. It's bad for your health. It's not up to you. It's a
real thinker, man. It's like if a cigarette company was putting a new, more addictive form of nicotine in their cigarettes, and they tried to like outlaw that, would that be okay? Because it's still your right to smoke this if you want.
I feel like as long as you were led to know that, hey, what you're smoking has been altered. It's not what you're used to buying. The chemicals have changed. And if you choose to continue smoking them, then so be it.
Yeah, it's like, say Snapchat does have this evil agenda. We found a way to make this platform more addictive, and people are going to get sucked in even harder. Should they be regulated on that level?
And it's like, I don't personally think so, unless they're. And I don't know, man. I mean, I get it. I do that they're addictive, and I get all of that. But I just don't think that's the government's place to go in and tell you you're spending too much time on Snapchat.
Yeah.
Now, if you're driving and Snapchatting and you're causing harm to others, then you step in and you're going to jail, whatever, for breaking the law. But if I want to sit in my house after a long day of work, and I don't really spend that much time on Snapchat, but if I wanted to sit there and spend hours on Snapchat or keep a streak going, what business of that is the government's?
Yeah.
But, that's I don't know. Like I said, this is probably the most political you're going to hear us get. But to me, that is the stupidest thing. Like, I still am waiting for someone. I'm going to be looking in the comment section for somebody to please tell me that we just ranted for 15 minutes about nothing, because that was a spoof. That was that was a parody article, like The Onion or something.
Nah, man, I totally believe it, man.
I mean, I don't know, man. Tell me it's fake, JP.
I would like to, but
leave us your thoughts in the comments below, man. Get in the conversation. Do you think that, I say comments below if you're listening on like YouTube or SoundCloud or one of the apps that allows you to comment. If you're not listening on one of those, then, don't forget we're on Facebook. Just go to Facebook and search for the Podcasting Dead. There's a picture up of me blocking JP from the mic because he's probably about to say something very ludicrous or inappropriate.
Yeah, man, it's wild. I started this podcast out talking about crack cocaine, and then we talk about how addictive social media is getting.
That's right.
Everything
it's all tied together,
doesn't it?
But, check us out on Facebook. And on Facebook, you can leave us your thoughts. We do a mail call podcast every Thursday where we respond to listener comments and messages and things like that. So find us on Facebook, or if you ever want to weigh in on the conversation and perhaps you're listening on iTunes or iHeartRadio or Spotify or something where I'm not sure if you can leave comments or not, feel free to email or Facebook messages. You can email us at any time, podcastingdeadpodcast@gmail.com. Again, podcastingdeadpodcast@gmail.com. Let us know. What do you think? Like, is that okay for the government to say, oh, that's...
Yeah. And don't forget, you can always snap us. Let's get a streak going while we still can.
Speaking of which, before this ends, we're going to give you our social media info so you can follow us. And one of those for both of us is, Snapchat. So, but I don't know, man. I think that's a little bit outrageous. I think that it's absurd that they, it'd be different if, like, looking at this screen altered your brain chemistry and forced, you know what I'm saying? Like some mind control type stuff. But, hell, aren't newspapers addictive for people who have to read them every day?
Yeah, well, my ongoing comic book addiction.
Right. So are we going to do that? Okay, so is that what's next? Should that's why people like JP and I have problems with laws and things like this. And I'm sure this law won't make it, but just the thought that someone in government thinks it's their job to do that. It's just so, like you said, yes, JP spends lots of money a week on comics, and he spends a lot of time reading comics. I also spend not as much. I probably spend about half of what JP spends every week on comics, but I myself get many comics a month and spend lots of time reading them. My time, that is my time, that I decide what I do on my time. Mm-hmm. So is that next? Should we move to just... I feel like a political radio show host right now, and I absolutely hate it. I hate politics, but I'm just saying... Like, is that what's next? And the government's going to step in and be like, you know what? Now that we've got this thing going, you know what? Let's get a list of everything that you do during the day, and we're going to decide what is and isn't good for you.
Yeah, man. It's really like the lesser of two evils, because on one hand, I absolutely do believe that people like Mark Zuckerface and all these magnets with the social media, I do think they are knowingly and willingly changing our brain chemistry for ends that I can't completely comprehend, but at the same time, I'm not a nanny state guy, so.
Right. It's conflicting time to be JP.
It really is, man. But no,
I don't like the information sharing and all of the because it's getting to the point my mom, who is not a paranoid person at all, is starting to get royally freaked out because things that she's now talking about but not searching for on the internet, just having discussions about, is now popping up as advertisement on social media.
It's weird, man.
And it's like, I don't know for sure that they're listening to you or not, but, it's just, there are some sketchy things. But, it's like, dude, radio, TV, everywhere wants you to stay tuned in as long as they can possibly have you tuned in. Because guess what? The more people that are tuned in for a long time, the more the advertisements got heard. In turn, makes that ad space more valuable, which means they can charge what they want to charge and sell to more advertisers. Like, that's just the way it works.
Yeah.
So, if you're going to regulate that, then hell, you better go to radio next. You better go to TV, any platform out there that tries to keep you coming back for more.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's my problem. And then, like, what that could lead to. It's just like, I don't think, again, it'd be different if it was like, hey, we've now found out staring at your phone's giving you brain cancer. Mm-hmm. And that might be a little bit of a different story, but it's like, if it's my time, are you going to go jerk old man Jim's newspaper out of his hand that he walks to? Because you got a lot of people in our town that are like this, that will get up and go to the store, get their newspaper, come home and read it front to back. And it's like, he has to come back every day to read his newspaper. We're going to snatch that out of his hand and be like, hey, this is addictive. They're doing something to keep you coming back, so nuh-uh. Yeah. Which in that case is probably your own nosiness that keeps you coming back, but still. So I don't know. Let us know your thoughts. Like I said, in the comments, if you're listening on like YouTube or SoundCloud, a place where you can comment. If you can't, feel free to email us. Feel free to Facebook message us, Snapchat us, whatever you want. Let us know your thoughts. Is this okay? And are we just not seeing it from the right angle? And that's something too. Try to be respectful. Like if you disagree. But you're not going to get anywhere by being an ass. So if you want to tell us another way of looking at this, then tell us. Actually tell us. Don't fuss at us. Tell us. And maybe somebody can change my mind on it. But right now, I just don't, like JP said, I'm just not into that nanny state thing, man. And I mean, like I said, it's probably not good. It's probably going to go nowhere. But just still, just the fact that that's what's on the docket right now. Mm-hmm. All the things wrong in the world, and this guy in Missouri is talking about regulating Snapchat. Like, yeah, man, I'm sure taxpayers are glad that that's what their tax-paying dollars are going for. The fight against Snapchat. I said Instagram, I think. Snapchat. Ugh. So, whatever. So, don't forget to follow us on social media. Speaking of which, JP, let them have your info.
Gosh, what is it? J_Radsaw on Snapchat, and what's the other one? Instagram, and then Jpslim on Periscope. I think that's right.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
Mine is a little bit more streamlined. One name for all 4 different platforms. Just I'm Justin Lloyd, all lowercase, no spaces, no apostrophes, none of that stuff. Just I'm Justin Lloyd. 2 L's in Lloyd will get you my Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, and Periscope. But and kind of the changes we were talking about was Trending Tuesday really was not trending at all. Like it was probably the least viewed or listened to thing that we were doing. And I'm not saying it's completely 100% over with, but what we might do is instead of trying to compile a bunch of things into like one day, we might just do like we did with that bizarre stuff they found. When did we do that? Last week, where they found all those weird bodies like sewn together and all of that in the Body Donation Center. And now we're doing this. So whenever we see an interesting story that's worth talking about, we'll throw it on there for you. And unless you're a regular listener and you love Trending Tuesday, and if that's the case, then let us know. And when we talked about maybe doing away with mail call and Trending Tuesday, just know that things that we do away with, we're going to be replaced. So it's not like we're pulling podcasts and we're trying to shorten our weeks. No, we're going to still plan to give you 3 to 5 podcasts a week, bare minimum. But it's just Trending Tuesday. If not a lot of people are listening to it, maybe we can find something that more people want to hear to replace and put on Tuesday. So don't think that that we're frequently talking about removing certain podcasts, that we're not just trying to shorten our weeks or like, we're going to take it away. Like, no, we want to make sure that it's something that people enjoy. And JP had the idea of maybe doing like a True Crime Tuesday, which I thought was a cool idea. Well, we'll go through and talk about some true bizarre, murder or whatever cases in history, and give you the backstory, and then we'll talk about it, that type deal. So just let us know. Our whole podcast has been built on what our listeners like. So your feedback is always taken into consideration, I promise you. But and that'll wrap it up for today. Don't forget to come back tomorrow for Woke Wednesday, where JP, do you know what we're talking about yet, or is that a secret? They have to tune in to find out.
Well, we're the main thing is social conditioning, how the powers that be basically shape our reality into what they want it to be. And I'm not sure which channel we're going to go down tomorrow, but
oh boy, I'm excited.
Last week was dinosaur fraud, so
that was interesting. I still think dinosaurs were totally real, by the way, but that was a very interesting argument that you had for the dinosaurs not existing. But yeah, so I guess that's going to do it for us today. We'll catch you tomorrow. I'm Justin.
And I'm JP.
And we are the Podcasting Dead. I got to go use Snapchat.
I got to use the bathroom.